Of Lush Talks. Now, Lush fans, I sat on this story for a couple of days, get it reposted on BrewStuds' Facebook page back on the 13th, but I decided to sit on it today because I wanted to talk about it, being Martin Luther King Day. And the article was written by Chauncey Jackson back on January 13th, 2017. And this is a commentary about diversity in craft beer. Now, I wanted to talk about this today. And there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about and just get my thoughts on it. Now, I'm not going to read the article verbatim, but I am going to talk about it. And it says here, as I scroll down a little bit, and I'm looking at my screen here, it says Dr. King Dr. King was, and the living idea of him is as close as we ever come to a human embodiment, equality, and inclusion in America. Unfortunately, when it comes to craft beer, those two concepts are pretty foreign. And that doesn't just apply to black people, but it's women as well. Although in recent years, we have significant increase in the amount of women participating in both the industry and craft beer community alike. But as you likely can see for yourself, those same strides of diversity haven't crossed over how the beer scene interacts with black Americans. And that's the crux of what I'm going to talk about today. Now, back then he had wrote, there have been very few well-written articles on the subject, like Irvin Harwell's recently published article on Hampton Roads Growler, where he cites Nielsen data establishing that only 3.2% of craft drinkers are black. Now, personally, I think I gotta say it's right around more 8-9% for reasons unknown, because there'd be a lot of reasons why. Me, I do videos, which I should have put a link in his description to his YouTube channel, and I totally apologize for that. Mostly reviewing amazing beers, but I recorded one this week, giving my thoughts on the subject. And he says the video is not scripted, more of a freestyle. And he says here also, not to burst anyone's bubble, but my foray into the beer scene was an IRL, which means in real life, of what Nielsen survey revealed in a study. I attend a lot of beer festivals and bottle releases. I am almost always the only black person there. I've been to breweries all over the world, from Oakland to Brussels, and I'm the only black person there. I feel comfortable, but I've always wondered, why in the hell am I the only black person here? I see every other race represented at these events, but most of the time I stick out like a sore thumb. Okay, a lot of that's education, and this is where I kind of differ in the article. They know what it is, but they're a lot more education on what it is, like the time that goes into it, things like that. Like me, I do craft. Like, this is a homebrew here. I actually make this specifically as a malt, and I tell people this all the time. Get out and learn about this stuff, because you never know. Now, you have to go back to the marketing of the 1980s, specifically the Colt 45 commercials of Billy D. Williams. As far as the black community is concerned, they end up getting the malt segment cornered, and a lot of that has to do with price point, because it's so inexpensive. Now, I'll get to more on that in a minute. Now, do I believe craft beer keep black people out? Certainly not. Exclusion isn't a phenomenon that always plays out as something intentional. But I do believe better efforts could be made to bring people into the industry and art from all cultural and ethnic backgrounds. Damn straight. After all, it's better for business and better for craft beer community to have different people from different cultures sharing their love for craft beer. And yes, I do agree with this to an extent. Now, I do believe craft breweries in general, they want to get the word out, have their market expanding near their own communities, for instance, if it is local. You know, I don't know if they want to, they don't know how, they don't put the money in, I have no idea. But for a lot of people of color and black Americans in general, a lot of them think it's an exclusive club. Now, let me show you something. This is my wallet. You see this? They'll open it up, give them the right incentive. They will. And that's one of those ones to where I want to talk about today. A lot of it has to do with the education going out in the community. Now, Dope and Dank in Los Angeles, they do a really good job in this. They really, really, really do. Now, I don't think exclusion was the best word for this. I think more of the lack of knowledge is. And now, granted, the older generation, they won't touch craft beer. That is what it is. And I don't care who you are or where you're from. You're always going to have that. You know, he goes down a little bit more. He talks about something he's seen. He says, in the end, I love craft beer. I know a lot of other black people love craft beer too. In fact, there are multiple Facebook groups where black craft beer fans come together to show tips, reviews, and stories. These groups are well populated, just as active as their mainstream counterparts. Believe that those members know what the American beer scene has to offer. But for a new drinker or the craft curious, you may not know what to expect, whether they're black, white, Latino, or Asian. An interaction with a beer snob or a dirty beer, or seeing a bottle with a white hood on it might send them down the road to a wine bar. Now, I won't say necessarily wine bar. Now, let me tell you something. If they know what it is, I'm talking about beer in general. If they're going to spend all the money for a bottle of Hennessy, they're going to spend the money for craft beer, if given the right incentive. And that's where the marketing and the word of knowledge comes in. Because let me tell you something. In the craft beer world, and that's something that I want to crack one day, because that's why I'm homebrewing right now. That's a major, major market that is untouched right now. 100%, no doubt about it, untouched. And I'm not even sure if the Marco Brewers, I think that's the right word, Marco Brewers, the big boys, AB InBev, Miller Coors, Constellation, those guys. I'm not even sure they know how to crack it just yet. Because let me tell you something. When I lived out in the Southwest, there were some really good Mexican beers I had. Yes, they were local to that region, but I can get them in Phoenix if I talk to the right people. And it was really, really good, so I consider those craft. And let me tell you something. I guarantee you, in the black community, in the Asian community, in the Latino community, if given the proper incentive, it can be done. Trust me, it can be. I want more people in the community. I want a person of color to stumble on my YouTube page, watch one of my videos, like, you know what? This guy gave me the thought to go try it. And there's a lot of us in that particular situation, the exact same thing. And I don't care who the reviewer is. I could name a dozen reviewers out of a hat. And they want the exact same thing. They really would. But this is one of those situations to where I want to discuss this article a little bit because what it is. Because I want more inclusion, especially from black Americans. Like I said, a lot of it's fear, a lot of it's knowledge, a lot of it's going to be price point, because a lot of them, they won't spend the money, but like I said, they'll pull this bad boy out if given the proper incentive. And I'm hoping that get more of an insight. This is more of my thoughts because I really wanted to talk about it today. But please let me know in the comments below whether you see this on Facebook or YouTube when I re-upload it, or BitChute. Well, Lush fans, I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna enjoy my homebrew here. I thank you for watching a special edition of Lush Talks, and stay tuned for the next edition of Lance the Lush.